Quite spoiling ending though, isn't it? Great song, the Guillemots, but a bit of better. The Guillemots, as I believe they prefer to be called. Noddy Holder is with us. We still have the lovely Sue Perkins here, but big Noddy Holder's joined us. Noddy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm great. It's always nice to see you. Always lovely.
Thank you very much.
You've grown a small, what they call in America, a soul patch.
Yeah.
That small pointed
People
bit
keep
of beard.
asking me why I've grown it, and I usually tell them it's for a German porn movie I've got a part in.
No one is going to believe. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you,
Have you
Noddy.
seen German porn movies? Of course they'll believe it.
No.
With my belly, of course they'll believe it.
How's your German accent?
Very good. And I've been having the bratwurst
Right,
and all that.
say after me, das ist verboten.
Das ist verboten.
That means that's forbidden. So if
And the
ever
best
they ask
one
you
is-
doing you don't like...
And komm schlafen mit mir. That's all you need in
Komm
Germany.
schlafen, what's that mean?
Komm schlafen mit mir.
Make what?
Make coleslaw with me.
Oh, really? Who would have thought we'd go away with so much knowledge, so much new information today? Noddy, it's great to see you. You look very well. You look in good
You
shape.
think so?
Yeah.
No, good.
Well,
I'm glad.
Is there something we should know about then? You're hiding
Why do you think
something.
I've had a lift? Well, I haven't.
You've been going to see Sharon Osbourne's person, haven't you?
No.
Have you ever been tempted by surgery of any sort?
Oh, absolutely not. You
No.
scare me to bits.
No.
I don't like the sight of blood, mate.
Because Kenny, well, you don't have to look at it. They knock you out.
I know, but I don't want it. No, I don't want
You
it.
pay extra as the bloke with the mallet stands
No, I
behind
don't
you.
want it.
Right.
No.
Whereabouts are you based these days? Where do you live these days?
Manchester.
So you're in Manchester now?
Yeah, I'm still in Manchester.
You've been there for a while,
Been
haven't
there for nearly 20 years, yeah.
Do you ever miss the Black Country, though? Would you rather be back in...
I visit the Black Country still, but I don't really miss it all that much. I've still got relatives there. I've still got a lot of mates there, so I go down now and again. We have boozy nights out and whatever.
You've never lost your accent, of course.
No, I don't want to lose the accent.
No, it's a great
They
accent.
still take the mickey out of me up in Manchester. They still don't understand me.
How can they not understand you?
Well, they talk with that... well, I can't do the Manc accent. I wouldn't even try.
That's all right. It's like that, lad.
No, that's Liverpool.
What's that? That's Hey, Noddy, what's going on? That's the Manchester accent.
Danielle Lloyd. It's uncanny.
I think he's trying to do Liam Gallagher, but he's not quite getting there yet.
Look, you that was a good Manchester accent.
No, that was more Scouser.
Can you do a London accent, a posh London accent?
Posh.
Yeah, or any sort. Let me hear your London accent, Noddy.
Hello, darling. How are you? Super
good.
duper.
That's very good. That is very good. That's very good. Right, we're playing the accent game. Andy, I want you to do a full-on Birmingham for Noddy, make him feel at home.
Black Country's different to Birmingham.
Black Country's different. It's like that, isn't it? Somewhere.
That's right. He's right. Hey, that's good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I've sort of channeled myself.
That was right. That's very Dudley. That
Yeah,
was.
it's all right.
Mel, we want you now to be, if you don't mind. No, okay, we want you to be full-on Scottish.
Oh, right, that's an easy one for me to do because I do that. I go there loads.
Oh, no, okay.
It's just you that's struggling.
No, I don't have to do one because
you and your
people
Liverpool
know I can
Manchester
do
one.
every accent.
Yeah.
Go on, do... What should we say?
I think him trying to do an Italian.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
Oh, mi dispiace, non parlo italiano.
Well, that ain't bad.
That was
that
actual
was-
Italian as well. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry I can't speak Italian.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Oh, ye of little faith. Sitting over there.
I'm
with
actually
his-
annoyed
Do
that
West
was good.
Country, Jonathan.
Quite-
Do West Country.
West Country's like that, lad. Yeah, what's the... No, it's some
That's a Scouse West Country.
I just
Yeah.
come up to listen to Slade Noddy
I
Holder.
was still a black in Dorset.
Are we still on?
It's like down your way or whatever else. Noddy is never far from our thoughts
No.
and our hearts because Slade, of course, was such a fantastic band. I'm delighted to see some
Well, this-
obscure stuff being re-released now. What's that one there?
This is B-Sides, and I wanted Noddy to pick one from it so we could play something from it.
Do you remember many of your B-sides, Noddy?
Oh, I do remember some of them. It's a choice, really, on there
Right.
between Kill 'Em at the Hot Club Tonight, which is very unslade-like.
Oh, where's that? What track's that?
I think it's on side 1, CD 1.
Slade's,
Oh, yeah, got it.
Slade's
Track
spelling
11.
was always so atrocious, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
No, you
even the
won't
B-sides
know.
are badly spelt. There's one there, I'm me, spelled with 2 E's,
Yeah.
right? I'm now, and that's all, spelled O-O-L.
Yeah, well, that's Black Country spelling. That's where it all came from.
That's all.
From the toilet walls of the Black Country boozers.
But you know what? In these days, back when Slade were at the very top of the charts, almost on a weekly basis, the B-sides were often as good as the A-sides, and it often
Very
showed you
true.
a different side of the band. Because I remember the Sweet used to have brilliant B-sides as
They
well.
did very heavy rock.
Yeah,
the Sweets,
Slade and the
basically.
Sweet. I always used to look for this in the B-sides because it was a different side to the band, and it
Correct.
was equally good. And often they weren't putting the albums. Now everything seems to go straight out, and people are.
Well, there's no such thing as B-sides.
The
these
old days,
is
the
there?
old days were best. Look at that
Bonus
picture there
tracks,
of Slade.
Look at them. Don't we
Yeah.
look good?
Look at that. Well,
Oh,
that's
look at those boots.
That was good. It must have taken you weeks to get dressed for a photo shoot. Look at Dave Hill's got more holes on his boots to lace up than I've ever seen before in my life. It's like he's going straight
Those are probably women's boots. He always wore women's boots in those early days.
He looks like a pantomime cat.
Yeah, that's Puss in Boots, isn't it, basically? Yeah.
It is Puss in Boots, yeah, you're right. Smack on.
Steady. All right, which one are we going to play?
Well, you just said Kill 'Em at the Hot Club tonight.
let's
Should we go for that one?
Okay, this is from Slade B-Sides. It's a double CD set, 40 tracks, many previously unavailable on DVD, or on CD rather. It's got, has it got Feel the Noise on it as well? No,
It'll have the B-sides of every single we've ever had.
The B-sides of all of them. I remember the one, Man Who Speaks Evil, as well.
Yeah.
Because you were around. When was it Slade? Well, first of all, you were called
Ambrose Slade. That was 69, 70-ish. And then we changed in 70, I think it was, into Slade, because everybody was getting the name wrong, calling us... At gigs called it Amgo Shed, Arnold Slade. They never got it right. So when we signed with Chas Chandler, he said, let's make it simple for everybody.
Did you play any of the stuff that was called freak beat at the time, the really early, that kind of period of rock?
We did a lot of American stuff at that time. I think we were the first band in Britain to play Born to be Wild, Steppenwolf's Born to be Wild. We were playing stuff by the Amboy Dukes. Do you remember the Amboy Dukes? And also all that sort of West Coast stuff.
Yeah. OK, well, let's have a listen. This is from the Slade's B-Sides double CD. Just out now. A lot of stuff you haven't seen or heard before, I would have thought. And this is called Kill 'Em at the Hot Club Tonight. Well, I see why that was a B-side. Thanks for that,
was our homage to Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli.
That's great. Thanks.
Hot Club of France.
I think I'll be... I won't tick that box when I do it on my iPod. It's very
He never
good.
changes, does he?
A different
No, he
side
never changes.
to Slade there for you. Slade also have it's been re-released. I don't know if it was that release, but they've got a new version of a new DVD release of Slade in Flames. One of my favourite British films of the 70s. But also, I think one of the best, and probably the only kind of really kind of gritty British rock and roll movie made about a band in that period. I can't think of someone else.
It was, I don't think there was another one. It was a behind-the-scenes look at what really went on in the rock business. It was a fictional band called Flame, but every scene in the movie is actually true.
Oh, so it's what happened to you as a band or
not
other
Slade
people?
necessarily, but a cross-section of all bands.
I love the fact that because there's scenes that are set in like, working men's clubs and old halls and that kind of thing, and you really get a feeling of what it must have been like to be a band slogging away at that period.
It was Richard Lundgren, the director. It was his first movie. And he admits it now. He didn't admit it at the time. But they threw him at the deep end as much as us as actors were thrown in at the deep end. And he said he says now we've got an extras bit on the DVD where he's interviewed Richard, and he said that he didn't realise that movies had to be blocked out, a scene had to be blocked out before they took it, and then you had to film a close-up from this angle and relight it and that.
So he really was inexperienced.
He was so inexperienced, it's untrue.
But in a way,
he got through it on a wing and a prayer. But it's good because it actually adds to the atmosphere of how the movie looks.
It feels like a documentary.
That's right.
And it feels very, very real, and that must be why. So inadvertently, he stumbled on a star.
Yeah, he stumbled on it on the right approach for the storyline.
I saw that as a double bill when it first came out. Well, it must have been maybe slightly after it first came out. I don't know, maybe it was second time around. They used to do that with movies, of course, because you couldn't buy them on DVD or video. Right. But I saw it with the Amiga Man, the Charlton Heston. That was a great night out.
Yeah.
Almost as good as the time I saw Death Race 2000 on the same double bill with Black Emmanuel meets White Emmanuel.
Well, these days you'd never go to the cinema and see two movies now. In those days, you'd feel hard done to if you didn't have two movies on, and a cartoon, and a newsreel.
And if it was your birthday, Miss Candy came out and gave you a card. Oh dear, those are the days. Do you don't really sing much anymore, do you?
Not really. Don't do odds and sods for adverts and stuff.
Do you not like you don't want to be live in front of a crowd anymore?
It doesn't have any interest for me anymore because I was on the road for 30 years.
Yeah.
And when you've spent 30 years on the road, I mean, I actually liked the bit on stage. What I got sick of was the hotel rooms, sitting around airport lounges, dressing rooms.
Yep.
It was all the paraphernalia that went round it. And to me, I don't like the corporate attitude of the record business now. It has no attraction. When I started in bands in the 50s, it was a nitty-gritty rock and roll period where the four blokes got together and you just bashed the songs out.
Yeah.
You hadn't got to bother about your demographic or your publicity or anything like that. You were there for playing rock and roll music.
And I guess also...
And, of course, in the 90s, that all... To me, it all changed, and it had no attraction for me anymore.
Well, back then you had an album, and even if it wasn't a hit, you'd do another album.
Of course.
Whereas now, if you don't, that's it, you drop.
That's it. Our first record deal, we had a 5-album deal. And that meant 5 albums, not options. If your first one didn't make it, you didn't do another. You actually got 5 albums out, so it gave you a chance to develop. Kids today, they don't have that chance very rarely.
Would you be interested? Would you be interested in working behind the scenes in the record industry and encouraging young bands and finding bands like that? Because I imagine you'd have a good ear for that.
I did have a shot at management at the end of the 80s, early 90s.
Who did you look after?
I found this band, and they were like a Eurythmics girl-boy duo, and they were very much like the Eurythmics. Multi-instrumentalists, the two of them, wrote great stuff, really had a shot going for them. But then, when it come to signing them, I was giving them... Because I'd been in the business myself and I know all the pitfalls of the business, a lot of the pitfalls of the business, I was offering them a really good deal, a fantastic deal. And they took it to a solicitor whose claim to fame was that he'd done house conveyance for... who was the one who did Breaking Glass?
Hazel O'Connor.
Hazel O'Connor. He did house conveyance for Hazel O'Connor.
Oh, well, there you are, then.
Right? And they went to see this lawyer, and this lawyer tore this contract to bits.
No.
And they wouldn't sign it. And he knew nothing at all about the music business. So in the end, they didn't sign the contract, and it was all went by the by. And so that was my one and only foray into management.
Did they ever do anything?
No, they went back to playing the Working Men's Club straight away.
Isn't it?
It was a shame because they made some great demos. They got it all ready to go for them. I'd got a deal pending for them as well, a record deal pending for them.
So you had that's not a great experience for you, though.
It's not a great experience, and you've got to think, well, if that's kids' attitudes today, if that's the way they look at the business today, well, so be it. I don't want to be involved. No, you can't blame them at all. They obviously read horror stories about what happens to bands. But I'd been through it myself, so I wasn't going to stitch them up, So presumably you're okay for cash, so you don't have to. You wouldn't need to go back on the road with Slade to feather your retirement nest, so to speak. No. Good. That's because a lot of guys from your period in rock and roll didn't really. Yeah, well, we were very lucky. We were handled pretty well. But Chas Chandler, our manager at the time, he'd been through it with the Animals, so he knew it from that angle.
He managed Jimi Hendrix as well.
Yes, and he managed and produced and discovered Jimi Hendrix.
Did you meet Hendrix ever?
No, he just left. Chas to go back to America just when we signed with Chas. Then he actually came back and he was going to re-sign with Chas, and we actually were going to meet him the week after that. He actually ended up, when he died, Chas was going to he'd come to have a meeting with Chas to re-sign him and as be his manager again, and he obviously died, and that was it.
There must have been such an exciting time, because I know we have some great bands at the moment, there's some great music, but
there's some great... I don't want to put it down that I don't like the stuff that's around. I mean, there is great bands around at the moment. I'll tell you what, there's some great songwriters around at the moment. I think there was a bit of a lull in songwriting in the late 80s, early 90s, then Britpop brought back some great songs again, and it's getting even better again.
So you still listen to a lot of contemporary music then?
I don't want to say I listen to a lot, but I listen to stuff on your show and stuff on radio too. I listen to more than anything else. But if something strikes me, if I hear a single, I'll go out and get the album just to, see where the band's going. But I think there is some cracking stuff out there now.
Now, the big question that everyone wants to know, and maybe I shouldn't blow surprises, but Noddy is going to be jumping out of a cake at Elton's 60th birthday later today. Well, what are you wearing for the occasion?
Maybe I could go in my German porn outfit.
Come out wearing a riding crop, right? Wearing a thong, shouting that one phrase you've got, and that little Elton's face will light up. Eh?
I thought he looked wonderful dressed in that military gear he had in the papers this week. I saw one headline. I mean, we don't want to take the mick out of Elton, but
come on, why not?
I saw one headline in one paper saying he looked like Benny Hill. When he used to do the
dib. Yeah. Let's bung a bit of music on to end what's been a very surprisingly pleasant 3 hours, despite the fact I've been sweating like a hog over here.
I've been trying to play this for 2 weeks. It's 2 minutes 20 seconds. I think Noddy like this. It's a band called Pepe Deluxe, and it's called Pussycat Rock.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, thanks for joining us this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry if I was a little bit stilted at times. It was the dreaded flu bug. Thank you to all my guests today. Of course, Sue Perkins, who was charming and who was lovely. Who was on the first bit?
Stephen Merchant.
Cool, Stephen Merchant. And Noddy Holder, who was here. Get yourself a copy of Slade in Flame if you haven't already, and Slade the B-Side as well, which
also
is
Slade in Flame, the CDs.
A must for any fan of top quality 70s rock. Noddy, have a great weekend.
And you too.
I know you're on Rich and Judy next week. Give them my best.
I'm on Rich and Judy on Monday, yes.
Okay, well, that'll be fun for you, I'm sure. Thanks for listening to us. Stick around on the Radio 2 if you can. Then we've got some dodgy comedy coming. coming up after us. 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC.